You're listening to another episode of the Get to Know You series on the Normal Isn't Necessary podcast. For booking inquiries or advertisement opportunities, please reach out to us, normalisn'tnecessarypodcast@gmail.com. For all things Gumballhead related, please reach out to us at the website www.gumballhead.com. Hey guys, it's your host Gumballhead with another episode of the Get to Know You series here on the Normal Isn't Necessary podcast. Today we have our guest follow-up with our good friend L.A. Rogers, special effects makeup artist out of Georgia. How you doing, L.A.?
Life's been crazy. It's been almost a year since we did this?
Yeah, it's been close to a year since we did our first ever episode of the Get to Know You series with our first ever guest, you, L.A.
I feel so special.
You should. We're very proud of you. With this being the Get to Know You series, and we already know you pretty well, let us know some of the updates that we've got going on. There's been so many things happening in your life. Our guests want to know what has been going on with Rogers. Kind of let us know what's up, what's going on.
2025 has been a very, very busy year. Man, I've gotten so many new experiences that I don't even know where to begin. I'm now head of the makeup and SFX team for the nonprofit that I'm a part of, which is so much more responsibility. It's so much more than just the fun makeup and everything. It's budgeting and planning, and it's a lot, but I love every moment of it. I got to do my first expo this year, which was mind blowing, and just several moments where I had to step back and just take it all in because I couldn't believe this is where I was at. We did some new events around town. We hooked up with the local college, and now officially we'll be doing, hopefully every year. They definitely want us back for 2026, the makeup for their mass casualty simulations, because we volunteered to help last year and kind of blew them out of the water with our skills. So they begged us to come back, which is so awesome. We love, helping out the community and showing them that we're more than just a haunted house type thing. Plus, it gives us so many opportunities to learn new skills makeup wise. Got some other things going on up my sleeve that I'm not really allowed to talk about quite yet, but they will be definitely made public come by the end of 2026. You take the makeup aspect out of it, and my biggest project yet is building a little human right now. So that's been taking up a lot of my time recently as well.
Yay!
Last one.
Sounds like 2025 has been a great year for you so far.
Oh man, it's been amazing. It really has. It truly has.
So doing the moulage with the local school, being on the news, you did some traveling, you did some events, you did some cons. Sounds like things really, really took off for you this year.
They really have. They truly have. And it's 2026 is some of the stuff that we've been working on in 2025, the things I'm not allowed to talk about yet. If they go as planned, 2026 is going to be a big year, and it's going to be even busier because on top of all of that, newborn. So I'm definitely having to learn how to balance time and everything right now. But it's worth it all. And I've got so much awesome support between, my friends and family at the nonprofit, my husband and son here. It's just, I'm waiting for a shoe to drop. Like, all of this good can't be happening at once.
Well, sometimes it takes us time. I just recently did a road rant episode, and it was one of those episodes where you talk about, or you think about all of the things that happened to us. And I used to be a skeptic. All good things come to those who wait, and then you wait, and then you wait, and then nothing ever happens. But then during that period of time, little tiny things happen here and there that are really, really good for our lives, and we just don't realize it. And we think that, oh man, when's a good thing going to happen to me? And all the little things happen right under our nose. And then we have a period of our life where it's like things that we don't expect or things that we weren't expecting just like erupt in this amazing amalgamation of fantastic events that are happening in our lives. Sounds like 25 has really kicked off to be that year where it's been a couple of years of crumminess, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, so many great things have changed. And we, as your friend and as part of your family, and as the entire Gumballhead network, are so blessed and so lucky to be a part of your journey so far. And just so those that are out there know, we do follow up with each and every one of our guests. And we anticipate having each and every one of our guests from the 2025 season back on our show for a follow up. And that's why we're here today. This was a very quickly thrown together an interview. And but it was just one of those things where it's like there's so much fluidity in our friendship.
Oh yeah.
That it was like easy to get you back on. But on the other side, it was like, I got life happening. so,
Right. Life,
so
life be lifing. Life
life,
be lifing.
so we're entering the final trimester of your pregnancy.
Oh yeah, we're in it as of Thursday. Turkey Day was day one of the third trimester.
We know that there have been some struggles in the past with it, and it sounds like right now things are going well
It,
so far.
yeah, I mean, I'm having, yeah, I am on the older end of, that pregnancy line. They do refer to it as advanced maternal age. Not old, but advanced maternal age. One of the nurses called it geriatric pregnancy, and I told her she could catch these hands, tell me if they felt geriatric. No, I'm kidding. She was a friend. But health wise, I'm doing pretty good. Finally got my blood pressure under control. Um, the struggles of the past made it kind of hard in the beginning to really accept it and be happy. And so I'm currently, third trimester in, driving my husband insane with the, oh my God, we're going to have a baby. And he's like, yeah, we've known this. And I had to explain to him the other day because he almost seemed annoyed. And I was like, you don't understand. We finally have gotten to the part where I can mentally allow myself, with all the negative in the past that's happened, to be excited. I can let that guard down because this is really happening. He's viable now. We're past the viability date. If he comes today, he's got like a 90% chance, no problem, So I had to explain to him that, I haven't been mentally, I haven't been excited. I've been terrified the entire time. And now we've reached the point where I can just take a deep breath and be like, oh my gosh, I'm having another baby. Yay.
Yeah, it's wild, and I know as a parent that sometimes we stumble into these things, and it's terrifying. And and I wasn't trying to put you on the spot by any
Oh, you're
means.
fine.
Just kind of one of those things where it's like, man, this is so exciting. I don't know who's more excited, me or your husband. But I'm super
Me?
excited to
No.
you. You definitely are.
Oh,
Um,
he's over the moon excited. I don't want to I don't want to put him on blast, but no, this will be his first. But we have my son that's 11 from a previous marriage, but this will be his first biological child, and he's amazing with our son, so I can't wait to see him with a baby.
I'm super excited for both of you and in this.
It's gonna be amazing.
Are you're still in school, or you took some time off?
Well, I got accepted. I was up for competitive selection for medical lab tech at my college. And it started, or the selection period ended in June, and we found out in August. I found out in August that I made it into the program, um, but it doesn't start until January 12th, and my due date's February 12th, which is hilarious. But so I took the semester off. There wasn't really, I had already, fulfilled my prerequisites and everything. So there wasn't anything for me to take this semester. So I've kind of just been relaxing and, trying to make sure this bun stays in the oven until he's ready to come out.
That is
Um,
great.
Luckily, though, I do have an amazing advisors and such, and so they've actually worked it out where I'll attend the first 2 weeks of school um, in person, and then I'll just go virtual until the doctor releases me to go back to school after the baby's born. So they're working with me and they're working around. They're going to even record the lectures and everything so that I can pause them when I need to in case the baby needs something. So they're working with me great. It's definitely a godsend.
I'm checking out your socials in
Oh,
July.
they haven't been very active. They have not been very active. I've been so busy and so focused. My poor TikTok. I think all my friends on TikTok think I abandoned them, or I had to post I'm still here, guys. I'm sorry, kind of video.
Well, we know you're out there. We know you're active, and I'm checking out your Facebook page. July 10th, 11th, and 12th. You'll be at Inked Nation. It looks like.
Oh, I cannot wait. That was the tattoo expo we did last year. And I did 2 makeup demos during the 3-day weekend, and it was just the feedback it was just such an amazing event. And so we knew from literally the last day of the event that we were going to do the 2026 expo as well. So we'll definitely be there in Perry, Georgia.
That is not too far away. Just so people know, it's in Perry, Georgia. That is what's the nearest big town there?
It's just south of Macon, Georgia.
Just south of Macon. Then you've got let's see here, the Winter Wonderland walkthrough, Haunt for a Cause.
Yeah, that's our Christmas time. It's our no scare event. We're haunted for a cause, but we're more than just a haunted house. We wanted something fun and in the spirit of Christmas that families could come and just walk through the lights. Macon, Georgia does a really cool light display downtown where a lot of families go and walk through. But the we're on the other end. We're a good little ways away, and sometimes it's harder to get to that part of Macon. And so we wanted a local event where families could just come and walk through the trails with all the Christmas lights up, and there'll be photo ops, and there's going to be activities for the kiddos. No one's going to be in any kind of scary outfit. Like we're not trying to scare anyone. We're trying to just bring in the spirit of Christmas and
That's
those
awesome.
good family vibes.
And that's December 12th through 14th and December 19th through the 21st from 5 until 9 p.m.
Correct.
And that information will be in the show notes. That's in Kathleen, Georgia. Looks like some other stuff going on. The Middle Georgia Oddities Market coming in April.
Oh, I'm so excited, but I like weird things.
Now is that where people come in and they sell taxidermied stuff that's been spray painted and turned into something almost human type thing?
That I'm be honest, I'm not quite sure. I've never been. That's why I'm so excited about it. But I made at the tattoo expo. We made a lot of really good connections, and the I can't speak, post mortem crafts that is putting on that event were our booth mates. They were beside us, and we instantly bonded with them. It's a husband and wife team. They're such good people, so sweet. So the moment she posted that, I was like, I'm coming, and I'm sharing for everyone else too. Yeah, that's what she does. She takes these creepy little, skeletons and creatures and turns them into really awesome art. Still a little creepy, but awesome at the same time. She's even started doing locally for us. She's got classes you can sign up, and she'll have little events. They're like, um, how to pin down the beetles and scorpions and stuff like that. And she's just teaching people about her craft, which I think is amazing.
Just scrolling through here, looking at some of the other stuff. You've had some really awesome events happen this year as well. You had the trick or treat. You had the terror on Highway 127, which is
Oh my gosh!
such an
And
awesome event.
my 11-year-old participated this year for the first time, and Mom Heart was just so happy. He really, I was nervous for him because he's a shy kid, but that boy came out of his shell and he was scaring people left and right. It was amazing. It was just, It made my heart. Anytime your kids, get into something you're in, and I love my haunted houses. It does something for your mama heart, for your parent heart. And I just, it was amazing to see him come out of his shell and really get to know the people that already love him and care about him, because they love and care about me, but also get to see him come into his own. I mean, I went through the trail 4 or 5 times just kind of monitor throughout the night and stuff to help with everybody. And he would see me and he would figure out a new way to scare me where I wasn't expecting it and wasn't prepared. I was just blown away. It was an amazing first season for him, and I was so proud. And he can't wait for next season.
That's awesome. Turning the special effects into a family affair. That's what it's all about. Is sharing that entertainment, sharing that fun, and making sure that the people that see our joys and things get involved in the things that we find joy in. We're doing a lot of that nowadays with hashtag Rennie Talk, doing the YouTube videos and doing the special pop up things here and there, involving Together Light, who is officially
Mm-hmm.
co-host of our live drive at 5-ish on a daily basis. Who
That's so awesome.
he jumps in every single day and on the drive home. And as we drive home, we talk about how our day went and just kind of get over all the BS of the day. Now our show is actually a little bit more on the PG-13 side. It's been quite a few episodes since we dropped a major swear word. And that's been a big thing in our growth as well. So you were our first guest on the Get to Know You podcast. This year, this is episode number 40. So you were number 1 and number 40. We have produced to date 37 of those 40 episodes. We have 3 scheduled, and yours will be one of the 3 scheduled. And you'll be bringing in December with us tomorrow morning, alongside one of our other guests that we recently recorded. So we'll be dropping your podcast. Actually, I'll probably be dropping your podcast Tuesday. Amongst the ranks of some, I'm going to name drop so that we can let people kind of know our success from our first episode with LA Rogers to now.
Go for it. Let's hear it.
And we next Monday we'll be doing the interview with Jared Weeks from the band Saving Abel. That interview will be happening next Monday.
Mind blown.
Yeah, pretty excited about that. We did an interview with the Sun recording artist Jay Brook Lipe, who's been on the road. Their newest project, Lords of Jupiter. He's played with Hawkwind. He's toured with Lenny Kilmeister. He's toured with Black Flag. He's toured with some amazingly large bands. Pat Smiley, the voice of Detroit, has been touring since the 60s. World renowned in the rock blues scene. If you are familiar with the blues scene, you will know Pat Smiley. There's been so many great people. Vinnie Brigance, worldwide known as a hypnotherapist. Our very own The Chad from TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of really awesome people that have come on. A lot of East Coast bands, All Systems Go, Have Fun bands. Geez, Pete's. Anti-Wise has been so involved with us. Anarchy to Diapers has been so involved with us. And as you said, these conventions bring you those relationships and those friendships, just like our TikTok and just like our podcast. Our podcast has generated a substantial amount of interest. It's generated a ton of curiosity. And, it's brought a lot of friendships, long-term friendships. And, a lot of those have to do with just making that initial connection. We have also reached out to some other bands that we're hoping to hear back from. And just so some people know what we have in the works right now, a band called Them Crooked Vultures, which also could be known as the Foo Fighters. Dave Grohl from the band Nirvana frontman for both of those bands, working on getting them on the show. The Offspring, we're working with them. Dream Theater, who is also on the same label as Saving Abel. I'm sorry, rather has the same manager as Saving Abel. Recently reached out to Trent Renzer of Nine Inch Nails. So we are working very hard on getting some other guests on here.
Those
That
are
can
some
maybe,
big name drops, dude.
yeah, they are.
I'm
And we're working hard
so
with them.
proud of
You
you.
know,
I know y'all. I
so,
mean, y'all are amazing. You know, you've got such strong support at home. You know, and it's I just love watching your progress.
well,
The way you talk about me and my progress with my stuff is the same way I feel about you and in the podcast. I love watching. Just you're taking off. And it's amazing to see.
well, I think the biggest thing is we kind of utilized our interview with you as a launching pad. I think that was a moment in both of our lives where we were just kind of not necessarily stuck, but we were just kind of like, now what? How do we make
Right.
it bigger? You know, and it's not about getting famous. On my side, on the normal isn't necessary side, it's about sharing information. It's about not gatekeeping. It's about sharing information about recovery, sharing information about music, sharing information about mental health, and promoting our friends, promoting our followers, promoting our supporters. That right there is primarily what it's all about. Is that promotion. On the other side of things, it's about getting people comfortable with talking about the things that make them happy, about getting people outside of their shell
Right.
and getting them off that maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, and going, hey, you know what, maybe we can. And eventually, as in your case, not that we had a whole lot to do with it, but to the point where it's like someone out there believes in me enough to kind of kick me off the side of the mountain so that I go. And that was
Y'all have more to do with it than you realize.
we
Because I'll be completely honest. For the past 3, 4 years of my life, the biggest thing that's been holding me back has been me. And I've come across, and I'm speaking about you, and I'm speaking about your amazing wife, and Caleb, and Papa Beard. And then, my folks at the nonprofit, I've come across some amazing people that have really helped me stop with that fear that causes you to self-sabotage and, not go for those things that you should go for because mentally you're in a hold. You're literally holding yourself back for fear of failure or, I'm not good enough to do that yet and stuff like that. I wouldn't be where I am skill level if it wasn't for you guys. Like, no, you didn't give me my skill set, but you guys mentally put me in a position where I could confidently go learn new things and promote my work and put stuff out there. I never could have done that before you guys. Like you have more to do with it than you realize. You affect people in a greater way than you think.
we want people to succeed. We want people to sit back and just go, wow, I did that. Wow, I can do that. Wow, there is a community. Wow, there's a group out there of people that believe in me that I never thought would. And that's that's one of those things that's like I've been given the opportunity in the past to motivate and progress. And it starts at home a lot of times. And we it's taken us a full year to really narrow down our focus, and our focus is mental health. Our focus is, recovery. And I've been really transparent. This year I've had a handful of beers, but I'm not back into drinking mode. It's just like, okay, I've learned how to handle myself, but I don't look at it as a relapse or as a lapse at all. I look at it as self control. That self-control comes with discipline. That discipline comes with encouragement. That encouragement comes from listening to everybody involved. It comes from the community. And I've always said in my past, I'm never going to say that I'll never drink again, but I'll never drink the way that I used to. Um, and I'm just being transparent here. Um, it's been one of those things where I've taken something so difficult for me to control in my life and turn it into something that I can control. And a lot of that has to do with the community, because I used to be that guy that would put all of their skills aside because I would sabotage myself, self-sabotage. Because it's like, my podcast isn't doing very well, so I'm going to drink. My job isn't going very well, so I'm going to drink. My relationship isn't going very well, so I'm going to drink. Now it's
Right.
like, now it's like, man, things are going really well. I'm going to have a beer and a cigar because I'm celebrating something. A beer and
Right.
a cigar. You know, um, I was just telling Together Light the other day on one of our live drives. It's been 42 weeks since I ingested cannabis in any form. And I never had an issue with cannabis, anyways. I never really was a big fan. I do think that 2025 or 2024, rather, was a very big year for me to kind of go through all of that. And that really helped me to understand that. Because when we did our tour, we did a lot. I consumed a lot of cannabis in 2024. I smoked a lot, and I ingested a lot of it. Um, and there was a lot of traveling involved and a lot of stress involved. And it was during that period where I was like super stressed out in my life, and that was like, wow, I've become a huge advocate for it because of the things that it's done for me. But I think that if it wasn't for the availability and the legality of it, I think I probably would have relapsed in 2024 if it wasn't for, the alternative, because of all the stress and all of the problems and all the issues and all the things that we went through that year. That was a good year because we got to travel and we started getting, the Normal Isn't Necessary podcast up off the ground and stuff. But man, what a shitty year 24 was.
Oh my
We got
gosh,
to
dude,
see a
who
lot
are
of
you
really cool
telling?
stuff. Yeah, we got to see a lot of really cool stuff, but a lot of that stuff in hindsight was like, man, what a rough year 2024 was.
2024 it's probably been my roughest year in the last 10 years, to be completely honest. 2024 tried to break me, dude. 2025 is definitely making up for it. I mean, full transparency, y'all are aware, I fell into my own small, I wouldn't say small, but I fell into my own issues with, addiction. And I'll have you know that December 8th is 1 year completely clean from it. I don't ever
Right,
plan to go back or touch it. It's not something that, it's not like cannabis or alcohol where you can gain self control over it. It's not a good substance to be on, period. Um, but I fell into it because I just got so down. Like to the beginning of 2024, it was bad thing after, death and loss. And I reached my breaking point and started deciding I didn't want to feel, and reaching for stuff. And I'm very fortunate that I realized it was becoming a problem before I suffered any real consequences from it and was able to put a stop to it. But a lot of that has to do with your transparency. And I mean, I've known you, gosh, what, 3 years, 2 years, 3 years? I mean, it's been a minute.
tail end
It's
of
been a minute.
23 is when we ended up being friends. It was a couple of weeks before Christmas 2023 because
Yeah, it's a couple weeks before Christmas going into 2025. So 2 years. Um, but I mean, from day one, you've always been very transparent about, you know, the things you struggled with in the past. And you and your wife were one of the first people that I came to and was like, look, I got a problem. And, I need to tell people I need some help with accountability. But, I'm coming in on my 1 year mark, and it's like, I don't know. It's like I got stupid in the beginning of 2024 and did some dumb stuff. And then in I got smart in the end of 2024 and decided to clean up my act and get back where I needed to be. And I'm reaping all of the rewards of that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just, a lot of that, I mean, like I said, you have more influence on me and my success than you think, than you realize.
I think that shows the importance of community too, uh,
Yes.
and that transparency with people. We knew, and there's no ego involved in this. This is a true from the heart statement. I know that there's a lot of information that can be shared. I also know that there's a lot of information that can be shared that I don't have, that
Right.
I can't accommodate every situation and you know every instance out there, every occurrence out there. I know that. I know that I'm not capable of curing everybody's cancer, but there's someone out there who can. There's someone out there who can give that hope and give that love, give that encouragement. And,
Right.
you know, everybody has a story to tell. And that is where we've really focused our podcast, is to grow that opportunity to storytell, to information share with a huge network of people, with greater opportunities, with greater reach as a result, because we know that when we throw a band out there, for example, and I'll kind of show you the inside look at our podcast and the growth of it. Um, we're sneaky with our marketing. We're sneaky with everything that we do. There's a lot of stealth marketing. Our tagline: "Stay strong, stay focused, stay sober."
Hmm.
And now we throw out there: "Be safe out there, everyone." That is Together Lights thing, and if he's not on the microphone, we throw that in there. We do it with our social media and our social media growth. Like I was just looking at yours. You've got let's see here. I think I just saw that you have 1,800 followers, something like that on Facebook alone.
What?
Um, oh, 1.3, 1,300 followers on Facebook. Um,
What?
yeah, you got 1.3 thousand, 1,300 followers on Facebook.
Holy crud.
Um,
I didn't know that. Last
yeah,
time I
surprise.
looked at it, it was like 500.
Yeah, you got
What?
1,300 followers. We had a band
Oh,
on the
that's
other day.
awesome.
They were 10 away from hitting their 5,000 mark. In 10 minutes, we got them their 5,000th follower.
Oh,
Um,
that's amazing.
and that's just through the power of the podcast. And we, well, I'll tell you this. Together, Light and I, we were playing video games, which we do on the weekends, and we play Call of Duty Warzone. And I think he knows how sneaky I am. He may be able to say yay or nay in the chat here, but he sees me implement our podcast a lot of times. So in Warzone, on Call of Duty, you can team up with your friends, or you can go in as a random team and join random people. And a lot of times, I go in. I'll pick him up because he's my co-host. He's the co-host of my show.
Right.
Uh, on daily from 5 o'clock on Monday through Friday. He's there with me, and whether he talks or not is up to him. But the reality of it is he's there. He's my partner when it comes to this 5 o'clock drive, and he has seen me drop into these lobbies and have these conversations with people and get them to follow us and get them to subscribe to us and get them to get involved with our social media and get them to follow our TikTok page and join us on Podbean and do these things. And we were playing one night, and we did an interview with a guy. His name was Howanahilo. His name's Ralph. Fantastic human being. Was a Apache pilot during Operation Desert Storm all the way through
Oh, wow.
The Afghanistan conflict. And ultimately, he ended up telling his story about his darkness, his depression, his things that he went through. And we were together late night. We were sharing the story with a guy that we were playing with, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I was Marine Corps, blah 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 blah." Talking about Hope One Hilo, I'm like, "Dude, you got to check out this podcast. This is one of my favorite podcasts that we've had so far because this dude spoke for 2 hours about the darkness of being in the military. This dude talked about the difficulties that he went through as a pilot, as the death
Right.
that he saw and all the negative things that he saw. And this guy sends me a message 48 hours later and said, I logged into Call of Duty to play with my buddy one last time on Warzone. My goal was to say goodbye to my friend that I've been playing with for a long time and to not wake up the next morning. And the conversation that we had with you and your buddy, and then you telling me about this podcast, as soon as I logged off, I listened to that podcast as I fell asleep. And where I left off, I picked up the next morning and I listened to the podcast. I finished listening to it. He said, you guys saved my life. We're like, what? That podcast saved my life. I completely changed my mind. I completely changed the outlook on things. I completely changed the way I feel about stuff. And while this was an individual decision by this man, I take great pride in that instance. I take huge satisfaction in the fact that this person changed their life because of something that we offered out there from a story from someone else. Now,
Right.
if this guy didn't take the opportunity to jump on, and this is a friend of Modern Viking, by the way, he was introduced to us by Modern Viking Beard Care Company, Modern Viking LLC. If you guys don't know who that is, log in, check out their beard care products, 10% off. You use code Gumball10. Modern Viking LLC. Wear it with honor, wear it with pride. But no, this guy's podcast was an information sharing opportunity that saved someone's life.
Right.
And, if it could save a life or change a life, that's the people that we have on here. And that's one of those things where it's like, why did you do a makeup artist for the first one? To see where you were and where you've come and the things that you've overcome, the adversity that you've overcome, and to be able to see a friend of ours that went through some tumultuous times in their life and to turn it into something like super fucking amazing. There it is. There's the
Well,
the
you said that.
proverbial F-bomb. But to see all the involvement and to see the things that you've been involved with and to see the things that you've overcome, like I know your story deeper than what most people do. Uh,
Right.
but what you share is important to share, and those things that you share, you share with pride because those were things that you've overcome in life. That's why we do what we do, And at first it was like, oh, subscribe to us because I want everybody to hear my voice, but that's not it anymore. That's not even it anymore. We see how many people we're helping by sitting here and shutting up. And I know that this is long winded, but for the most part, we don't have to run the podcast. The podcast runs itself.
Right.
So,
You never know how your story of you surviving something and getting through it is going to help someone else. Even if their situation is completely different, the mindset might need to be the same and they're able to apply your story or the things you went through to what they're going through. You've never, I'm all about, you know, transparency and sharing your stories because you never know what your little bit of strength will do for somebody else.
and
You know,
that's where it's at right there is just that little moment, those little moments in life. Delicate Tendrils was an album by Todd Rundgren, and the name of that album, sorry, this 1970s, but that the album title is what I kind of refer to as the things that we've offered and given to our listeners is those delicate tendrils, those small things in life that mean a lot to people that make up a good portion of life itself. Let's see here. Just having the opportunity to talk about those things. And,
okay.
at first I was very ego driven when it came to the podcast. I was like, oh, listen to me. I was that way on TikTok too. I wanted to have 20,000 followers. I wanted to have, 600 people in my lives when I was live because I figured that would be a good opportunity to get gifts and this and that. And I figured, well, you know what, if people are making it, making money and this and that and the other thing on TikTok, maybe I can do that too. So then I realized that my purpose was a little bit more than that. It was more about sharing the information, getting it out there than it was about gatekeeping and being successful.
Right. And look at
Um,
the amount of lives you've touched. You
yeah,
know, look at the friendships that you've brought together.
man.
I don't think I would have ever come across Caleb if not for your TikTok. I don't think I ever would have come across Papa Beard Beats, if not for your, being in your lives with you and having those conversations. You're right. It's not about the numbers. It's just about I'd much rather change someone's life and, help them through a struggle than get a couple bucks on TikTok. That just means so much more.
Well, I think that a lot of it has to do with social media and how you use it too. If you're using it for, the purpose of what it's intended, then staying interactive, staying involved with staying involved with the people that you engage with. I still have, I don't know, I don't even know how many followers I have on TikTok anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
me neither.
it's one of those things. Caleb might be able to tell us, but um, I'm not driven by that anymore. I'm not, I'm not, I'm not driven by that metric anymore. My metric is more how many people have downloaded my podcast, and it's not a hey pat me on the back kind of thing either. It's how many people are getting affected by the things that we have and the information that we put out there. We're constantly looking for different ways to change the show, but if we're consistently changing the show, then we're consistently stepping away from what our initial intention is. And I
Right.
think a lot of that has to do with, you know, societal influence. And we talk a lot about societal influence, don't we? Together, Light. We talk a lot about that on our show on the live drive at 5. Yesterday, I did a Sidework Saturday road rant, drive to work, and well, I'm going to pitch this to you. I'm going to throw this at you, and just
Okay.
kind of see your take on this. My podcast yesterday, my road rant was every person should be given their diploma at graduation and a baby. That brand new baby, brand new in this world, day one. You got 400 people graduating. That's 400 new people that are going to have a baby on day one of graduation. And then you raise that baby through college, your 4 years of college. As soon as you graduate high school or trade school or, your first 4 years of life, you get that as a baby from 18 until 21, 17 till 21. You get that baby. It's your responsibility. You can do the rest of your life whatever you want. You can live your life. You can get married during that time. You can have a job during that time. You can go to college, whatever during that time. But the first 4 years of your life, after you move out of your parents' house, you get a baby handed to you. Here you go. It's kind of like a head of lettuce. But no matter what, those first 4 years, you got to keep that baby alive. And the reason why I
No.
said that was not to like damn people or like mess them up, but it was like now you're going to get something, because think about it, LA. All the way growing up, we're influenced by the people we go to school with, our teachers, our
Hmm.
educators, our parents. They tell us what to do, how to do it, why we do it this way. You know, the ideas, the concepts, the reason why we go to the grocery store, we order Instacart, whatever, ordering food, how to cook ramen, how to cook hot dogs, how to do this, how to do that. They teach us as we grow up. But after we move out from the house, most people don't realize that over the course of our life, living at home, we learn these things, we learn these skills, and then people are scared to go to college as a result because they're like, how am I going to do this? Well, here's a baby. Let's throw that into the works. Let's make it a little bit more difficult. But the reason why I said this was not because it was like, let's make life more difficult. It's because of this. In a marriage, one of the biggest problems in a marriage is communication.
Hmm.
What better way to learn the art of communication than taking a baby that can't speak? You're coming into motherhood again for the first time, and what you said, how old is
11.
11 years?
11-year gap.
It's
Yeah.
been 11 years. Now you have to learn the cry for hunger, the cry for attention, the cry for the diaper, the cry for pain, the cry for weakness, the cry for tiredness. You have to learn all that stuff again. You have to learn nonverbal communication from a tiny human.
Yep.
And if you could understand the words that they were saying to you, it'd be simple, right?
Right.
But in a marriage, especially to a man, we're not transparent with everything that we have.
No, you're not.
So sometimes we'll sit in the driveway for 10 minutes and say, "Oh, I was just listening to a song." But the reality of it is radio wasn't even on.
Right.
It works both ways for men and women, but the truth of it is that nonverbal communication. I hear Marley crying in the background right now, and I know that that's her "I want attention" cry. I also know that Dre's out there right now going, "I'm not picking you up. I've been holding you for the last 6 hours. I'm not picking you up. Sit there and cry."
Right.
You know, um, but to understand that communication, nonverbal communication. The second thing on that is sacrifice. We sacrifice our own happiness on a regular basis for other people. When it comes to a baby, you don't have a choice. You have to make those sacrifices in order to take care and to nurture and love for that child. And then of course with all those things come into intimacy, they come into greed, they come into this and that and the other thing. But there are so many things that you can learn in the first 4 years of a child that can apply to your marriage that'll make your marriage so much stronger in the long run. And then after 4 years, you do the baby exchange, or you get to keep it, your choice. You can upgrade or trade it in, for a wife or a husband or, or a dog or whatever. Maybe I should have said the first 4 years you should get a puppy, but I don't think that would hit home as hard as having a baby,
Yeah, but I'm just, oh my brain cannot fathom that concept, Gumball, I'm be honest. Because I'm, as a mom, and as a, middle-aged woman, I'm not, looking back, I was still a kid at 18.
Right.
And you can't, emotionally, if you're not emotionally ready, you can't provide what a baby needs more than just the physical things,
Right.
Okay, you might learn their cries and you might learn, you might get a routine down, but are you even mature enough at that point? Now, some people are. I'm not, because there are people that have, babies at a young age that are phenomenal parents. But on average, you're not even emotionally ready to be considered an adult. How are you going to be able to give this baby what they need emotionally to thrive? And then what kind of, damage are you doing to that child for the first 4 years? My brain says you're crazy. Give him a puppy.
I think it was more of a matter of driving the intention home than it
Right.
was anything else, But see, with a
No, I
human
get
being,
what you're saying.
you're going to give that love, you're going to give that compassion, you're going to give that empathy, you're going to give that understanding, you're going to give that trust, you're going to give that safety and that comfort. Whereas with a puppy, you kick the dog and it's going to come back and lay next to you, 10 minutes later. A baby's not going to do that. They're going to start
Right.
to program, just like a cat, maybe a cat out of all of it. A cat's
There
like
you
a,
go. Yeah.
like a pet version of a baby, I guess.
Right. I completely see what you're saying though. And I'm 100% on board. My husband and I, that in the beginning of our relationship, struggled really bad with communication. And it got to a point where we split for a very, very short time, when we both came to our senses. But honestly, I think personally, the biggest struggles in marriages that come from communication is comes from a lack of understanding your own emotions, or on the men aspect, being told from day one, you're not allowed to have those emotions, you know, suck it up, buttercup, you're a man. I hate the way, my husband was brought up because that's how he was brought up, and we don't argue over it, but I correct him quite often when he tells my son, man up. No, sir. He just hit his knee and it hurts. He's allowed to cry. Give him a minute, as long as he gets back on the scooter, that's all that matters. But he's in pain right now. Let him cry. He's a
Yeah.
kid. those emotions, like, no, his feelings matter too, or my husband he'll get upset about something, because a human is a human is a human, regardless of gender. Your feelings are going to get hurt. That's human nature. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. We all have feelings and they all get hurt. And my husband will get upset. His feelings will get hurt. Something will happen at work. But, and I'll see him getting upset about it and then he'll shove it down. And I'm like, no, babe, talk about it. Like, you're not going to feel better if you don't get it off your chest. I'm a man. We don't talk about our emotions. And I'm like, well, that's crap. You
Yeah.
have them, therefore you need to address them. And he's, we've both come leaps and bounds in our communication. We're not perfect by no means, but we're at pretty solid communication. We're at the point where we both can be all like, I'm getting upset. We should finish this conversation later and walk
Yep.
away, or he's gotten far better when he gets upset to explain to me why he's upset, like why it bothered him versus just being angry and storming off, which makes our connection even better because I understand him more. Communication, like, it's not about changing someone's mind or making them agree with you. It's about, seeing it from their perspective, understanding them as a person. And if they don't understand their own emotions, that's a big, from square one, you're kind of screwed.
Well,
So,
it's a challenge too because you nailed it right there when it came to the men's side of things. And another aggressive angle when it comes to the get to know you and the road rants and the live drive at 5. A majority of our listeners at 5 o'clock are middle aged men. A majority of our listeners overall are female. We just hit the teetering point because anything under 55, I figure was pretty even, but we're at 56% female listeners now versus 44% male listeners. And the age demographic is wild because our female listeners are aged 29 to 40. Our male listeners are 41 to 55. So we know that we're starting to hit that observational um, exchange when it comes to listeners. But the cool thing about it is, I think because of that uneven listening, the younger generation, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's like Dre's generation listening to our podcast and then my generation listening to our podcast. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that women are listening to our podcast so that it's easier for them to understand their men. And men are listening to our podcast to understand that it's okay to be a man. It's okay to sit back and let your emotions through it. And it's crazy. You come from public safety. I come from public safety. There's a huge stigma attached. There's a lot of argumentation involved. There's a lot of, oh, we're the pillars of community. We need to be strong, blah, 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 blah. But when I got medically or mentally, let me say it rather, mentally forced into retirement from public safety, I didn't feel as if I had the opportunity to go anywhere. I didn't feel as if I had the chance to express my emotions. If my company would have said, "Hey, do you have a problem?" I would have been like, "Yes, I do have a problem. I know I have a problem," and I could have gotten help if I knew the help was there.
right.
Um, but I think also that a lot of that is people listen to the podcast in hopes that we're going to be able to help them in an insurmountable way. But the truth of it is not so much us helping them, it's just helping them understand that there is help available out there. And there are people out there and communities and networks that are out there. Just got to
Right.
find them. And most of the
Yes,
time, guys don't
100%.
want to do that. We got to figure it out on our own. I'll figure it out on
No.
my own, So, um, yeah, I get them a puppy.
Right.
I don't know what else to say on these things. Is just kind of one of those things. But
Yeah.
nurturing that growth in relationships, ladies. My wife will tell you firsthand. She's never seen a man cry more than she has seen me cry, and it could just be me sitting there holding our child and just observing her behaviors brings that tickle to my heart. Tugs at my heartstrings and helps me to observe the fact that I've got a beautiful child and that I'm a dad and that I'm proud of it. And then I go to work and I'm not in a macho job anymore. Like when I was working on apartments, it's a macho job.
Right.
Oh,
Maintenance.
yeah. I yanked this cabinet out. I put a new cabinet in. It's level as hell. And oh, the previous contractor screwed things up. Oh, they did a really shitty job. And now it's like what I do for a living now is, oh, okay. So you got this issue and this is what you need to have addressed. What can I do to make things better for you? How can I help you with this? Not many people know, but I left my job as a maintenance guy and now I work with insurance companies. Ooh. But the biggest thing about it is I take your house that's been, jacked up and I turn it back the way it was, and it's my job to advocate for the homeowner or the renter or whatever to get their house back to normal as quickly as possible by ways of typing things into a computer. I get to actually use my brain as my job now instead of my hands, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm still helping people. I'm still advocating for people. I'm still working with people. But now it's in such a way that hi Bella, the amazing and wonderful LA Rogers SFX artist. Thank you for that shout out there together. I appreciate that. Um, but
Yeah.
now it's a beautiful marriage between myself and homeowners and adding that additional asset of the insurance companies because what a nightmare it is to lose everything that you have and then have to rebuild everything. Much like the
Right.
relationships that we have, much like the marriages that we have, much like losing a loved one or a parental, a parent or whatever it is. There's just so many different variables that come into life, and I think that what you're doing right now with putting your life together and focusing around changing those lives, because when you sit down and you decide to do a face painting, you come so far with your airbrushing. You
I'm
know,
starting to love it. I'm starting to love it.
I remember when you got gifted your first airbrush set, you were just like, I I got an airbrush. You were so excited, and you're like, but I don't know how to use it. Well, start.
Oh man, and it did not come easy. It did not. I've been using an airbrush for over a year now, and I've just I don't know. It's just one of those things. It just kind of it's clicked recently, And I think a lot of that is it's easier to airbrush other people than it is yourself. And I've been
Oh,
doing other people more. So, but I put it down for so long, and I'm upset at myself that I did because I could be even further in improvements by now. But I did like two makeup looks on myself with the airbrush, and they were horrible, absolutely horrible. And I put it down and felt so defeated and was so upset. And luckily, the haunted house that I'm at, they're pretty adamant they wanted airbrush in the makeup looks, and they pushed me because they knew I could do it. That's my biggest problem is other people believe in me before I do. But they knew I could do it, and it's gotten to the point now where I've just kind of I've started asking questions instead of being embarrassed or like my favorite person, the first person I go to with an airbrush question. I'm 38, she's 19. Oh, I'm sorry, she just turned 20. But that was hard at first to go and ask her because I'm like she's a kid and I'm supposed to know what I'm doing. I'm an adult, and but I put pride aside and ask for help, and she's giving me some awesome tips, and I just love. I can't wait to see where I go with it.
I think the growth and the setting the fear aside. When it comes to makeup, you can't fail. You can always fix it with a brush. You can always fix it with different makeup. You can always fix an airbrush mistake. Apply
Right,
that
and
to real life, though. I mean, apply that to real life. I tell people all the time, there's nothing you can do to drywall that I can't fix. That just comes from so many years of doing drywall. Um, I think that we forget about that in life too. There's nothing that we can do in life that we can't fix. You know, whether it's our addictions, or our affiliations or our conversations or broken relationships, if you're willing to put in the fight, if you're willing to put in the effort, you can overcome all of those adversities. And I look at it too in this way too when it comes to my past relationships. You know, if they were willing to fight, we'd still be together. You know, but it's communication. It's it's that effort. It's that joy that comes from resolving something as a team, growing the team, making the team, you know, valuable to everybody. And you've seen it yourself.
Hmm.
Caleb has seen it. Dre has seen it. Look at the things that we've changed in our community, our mental health community. You know, I'm talking the Gumballhead community and the Normal Isn't Necessary community. How many things have changed in the last year? Of okay, well, the only way to get rid of cancer is to cut out the cancer, and it hurts sometimes, but sometimes it's necessary.
Right. The
You
biggest
know,
thing you hit right there was you. You
yeah,
know, you can overcome this. You can. It's a you thing. Everything. No one can come in and fix your life. If you're not happy with where your life is, or you're not reaching the goals you feel you should be reaching, then need to look and see what you could be doing more of. You know, you've got to look inside and see where you're lacking, whether it's self confidence, whether it's, you know, I'm lacking in the willpower to actually get up and do the things I need to do to promote myself and push my skills, to improve my skills. It takes self accountability is a huge thing. You know, you've got to look inside of you because fixing you is going to start fixing things throughout your life. You
yeah,
know, me working on my, uh, I suffer with, I take things personal. Like my first reaction to confrontation is take it personal. And I've gotten to a point where I've realized that, you know, I can't react. I need to respond. And in order to do that, I have to take time. I have to take time to process it. I have to take time to take it personally, you know, on my own, and then sit in those feelings and realize, well, maybe that wasn't about me. Maybe they've got something going on, you know, and it makes, you know, for me to sit there and have control over it. And then I can go back and respond to it versus react, you know, and
yeah,
that's really helped. This is, like I said, this is my first year managing the makeup team for the haunt, and it was a big year for us. We did we on average had 75 volunteers, and at least 40 of them needed makeup, and we were a 4 to 5 person team, and we had 2 hours to do it. We were not late a single time. Not only that, but we went from a 6 night season to a 6 weekend season,
yep,
and we just, you know, but being able to sit myself aside and not take the time to process versus, you know, respond instead of react. Like I was able to avoid confrontation in situations in the makeup room this year because I was able to control myself, and that kind of flooded over in my management skills.
yeah,
And it, like, it's crazy, but a lot of people complain about where they're at in their life, and, you know, well, I'm not successful and I'm not this and I'm not that. Okay, well, what can you do to work on yourself, you know, to get you there? What's really holding you back? Self accountability is something a lot of people don't tend to think about.
well, 9 times out of 10, it's you. It's
Right,
yourself,
exactly.
and it sucks, and it's a challenge, and it's, you know, it takes a lot of strength and a lot of learning and a lot of education, a lot of information, and sometimes it takes a lot of outside stuff too to bring us to the realization that what we are missing and what we're struggling with is not necessarily us. It's the way that we interpret ourselves.
It's all about your perspective.
Yep. It's all about perspective. Ellie, you've come a long way in the last year. Any advice that you
Thank you,
got for the
thank
last
you.
year that might change perspective on things that our listeners might want to know?
Just take a deep breath. Don't, you know, all of us are so quick to react to a situation, react to something without even realizing that it has nothing to do with you. You know, just take a breath. Take a breath. That's my advice. Stop and take a breath.
And we can find you on what
Does that make
social?
sense?
It does. It does. It absolutely makes sense. It makes 100% sense. You know, Take a breath. I'll throw this out there, and I'll paraphrase this into a Buddhist concept. Obstacles are never in the path; they are the path. We can't get from point A to point Z by going straight through. Sometimes we have to go over, around, through, and under the obstacles that stand in our way in order to get us to where we want to be. And it's tough to swallow sometimes because, especially if we're hard charging and mentally forward when it comes to stuff,
Right.
when we want to get to where we want to be, sometimes we have to sacrifice things, and it sucks. We don't like sacrifice. Humans don't like to be put in a situation where they have to sacrifice the things that they like in order to get what they want out of the deal.
Right.
Um, and sometimes those sacrifices are so minimal, but they feel so big. They feel so large. Um, Sleep, for example, recently, our 2-year-old, she's 2 now. Holy crap!
I know.
Hashtag
Blows my
Marvel
mind.
too. um, but it's sleep. We know that she's going to wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning screaming, and it's going to be an hour to an hour and a half before we get her back to sleep, or at least rested enough to where we can fall asleep. It's tough to do. She goes to bed at 8 o'clock at night. That's 4 hours. 4 hours of opportunity that we have. If we fall asleep right away, we could sleep right along with her, and then we got 2 hours up, and then we can sleep for another 3-4 hours after she falls asleep before we have to get up and go about our day. Where do we sacrifice though? 8 o'clock at night. I don't want to go to bed at 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
Dre doesn't want to go to bed at 8 o'clock at night, but she goes to the bedroom with the kids at 8 o'clock at night. She sacrifices time with me. She sacrifices time with the other kids um, because it's necessary right now. Um, but she also does it to sacrifice time and sleep and rest for me. Um, like I sleep on the couch a lot with our baby. I don't like it because I like sleeping next to my wife at night. I don't
Right.
like it because I like being present. But if that's the only way that my wife can get a few hours of sleep before I dump the crying ass baby off to her, then that's what we got to do. Um, and once all the kids are asleep, I'm bored. I can turn on the PlayStation, but I don't like doing that during the week because I don't have any self control when it comes to that. Next thing I know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I got to be up in 4 hours to get ready for work. Um, that's tough, especially if you stare at a computer screen all day long.
Right.
You know, um, so yeah, it's just that sacrifice, and there's no moderation when it comes to sacrifice. It's a consistent thing. But I think a lot of that weighs on our mental health. A lot of that plays into our marriage and into our relationships. And again, that's where we're back to the give them a puppy, give them a cat, give them a baby at graduation. That communication stuff. So, well, like I said, you've come a long ways, and we're so proud of you. We're so glad that
Well,
you
thank you.
took time out of your Sunday to be with us today. I just wanted to catch up and just kind of see how things were going with you. And giving the listeners, a follow up so that they could see where things have come in less than a year with one of our guests and with our good friend, and to just kind of hear how we want to follow up with everybody and see how their progress has been. You were blown away to know that you've gotten over 700 new followers on Facebook since the
I
last
never
time you.
checked that. I never checked that.
Yeah, it's good news, man. I mean,
Yeah, that's cool.
that makes me happy. Has your TikTok increased in followers since your podcast with us?
I don't know. I don't check it.
I gotcha. Let's see here. See where you're at on TikTok. See how many followers you have.
I haven't been very active. I'm definitely one thing I want to do in 2026 is get back on, posting makeup videos and stuff on TikTok. And, those transition videos. I really want to make sure I've got so much going on that I really want to make sure to take a little bit of time every now and then for me, you know, because I know that I need that. For mental health, for my mental health. So my TikTok will be getting, I will be more active on TikTok, and we'll have things more posted on Instagram, and hopefully get some more tutorials on YouTube. So it, it it's been a little stale this year because it's been so busy, but it's going to pick back up.
Well, get the information out there. Post it, post it, post it, post it. I want to reach out to everybody because you were one of our most downloaded episodes, by the way. I've got top five downloads in the 100 plus downloads. If 123 people listen to this podcast, I want each and every one of you to go over to the TikTok, find ROGERS SFX, and I want you to follow her so that we can get her to 5,000 followers. You're 123 away.
Are you serious?
I am dead serious. Currently sitting at 4,817 followers.
That's great.
That number represents 4,817 followers.
Oh, yep.
According to Gemini.
That's awesome. That's crazy.
817 followers. If you're not following her on TikTok, please go give her a follow. Ellie Rogers SFX. If you're not following her on Facebook, please jump over to Facebook. Same thing. Ellie Rogers SFX.
Instagram, LA Rogers SFX. YouTube,
there you go.
LA Rogers SFX.
Yep. We'll make sure to drop that
Made
down.
it easy.
Yeah, we've even started streamlining our stuff here. We changed the only thing I haven't let go of yet is the Gumballhead Facebook page, because it's facebook.com/explore the gumball. Everything else is now normal isn't necessary. Even both of our TikTok accounts.
Yeah, I noticed.
Normal isn't necessary podcast host with a question mark, and normal isn't necessary. Our website is still gumballhead.com. That's going to change after the first of the year, for those that are wondering. Those that have seen the changes happening on the website, that follow the website, things have been changing over there. So there have been a lot of things that we're starting to funnel everything into the Normal Isn't Necessary podcast in lieu of the Normal Isn't Necessary, or the Gumballhead Mental Health Network and Gumballhead Sobriety Society, because Normal Isn't Necessary is the information network that leads you to that funnel that gives you the information that you need. That's why we do what we do. So anything that you would like to impart us with, wisdom as we depart this podcast tonight, anything that you would like to share?
Y'all are amazing, and I miss y'all. I miss Caleb, and I miss Kendra, and I miss everybody.
Well, you got a lot going on, so
right, and so do y'all.
make sure that what's our due date?
Due date is February 19th, but both of my doctors are pretty adamant no later than February 5th.
That's amazing. That's a month before we're due.
I know. How crazy is that?
So we're going to have to get our babies together and give them to a high school kid graduating.
No.
So, well, we love you, and we love everybody that stops into our podcast. Together Light, we love you. Thank you for moderating and being a rock star, being a show pimp for us.
Definitely. I really appreciate you guys having me back again. It's always so much fun.
And we love having you here.
I love you guys. Thank you so much.
And as we part ways, we want to remind everyone, we'll say it first for Caleb, stay safe out there. And on behalf of the Normal Isn't Necessary podcast, stay strong, stay focused, stay sober. Much love, guys. We'll see you all soon. You've just been a witness to another episode of the Get to Know You series on the Normal Isn't Necessary podcast. Thanks a lot to L.A. Rogers, special effects from Georgia, the makeup artist, our first guest ever on our podcast. We love you. You've been a beacon of light for our community and kicked off an amazing podcast series. We thank you so much. We look forward to hearing from you and all of our other past guests. If you have questions, please reach out to us. normalisn'tnecessarypodcast@gmail.com. And until our paths cross, stay strong, stay focused, stay sober. Much love. We'll see you all soon.